Hey, everybody. Happy WrestleMania Sunday. Happy Easter Sunday on the Off the Mic Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. So wanted to touch on some news that I've kind of sporadically mentioned through last couple of my videos, but wanted to do a big picture thing here before we get into WrestleMania Sunday and we get into night two and what's going to be an eventful night to cap off a great WrestleMania weekend. But big news in the world, not just in the world of WWE, in the world of professional wrestling yesterday, as prior to WrestleMania Saturday getting underway, it was announced that WWE has purchased Lucha Libre promotion AAA. Again, you can insert your AAA Auto Club jokes and whatever. AAA has a lot of prestige behind it. To some, it hasn't been as good as it used to be. I think it's run by Conan. So the narrative going around, at least, if you pay attention to the AEW sickos, is that this is a bad move for Lucha Libre Wrestling because it's now being monopolized and, everything's turning into a conglomeration in terms of everything. Here's the way I look at it. And I said this, after WrestleMania last night. WWE is doing a lot of things that AEW should be doing. And, because AEW's collaborations are basically they were winning over everything. It wasn't really even a collaboration. And here's where we are now. The Forbidden Door, which was a big topic of discussion and one of the biggest drawing points for AEW in their fight, or whatever, their battle, their war with WWE. That was one of the biggest calling cards. Remember when Forbidden Door came out a few years ago and it was the coolest idea in the world? WWE has snatched the Forbidden Door away from AEW because this is only the beginning. You remember that Rock photo in a New Japan Pro Wrestling t-shirt? Rock's not doing that if there's not a reason for it, okay? That guy's got one of the biggest Instagram followings in the entire universe. In the entire galaxy, WWE, whatever. He is one of the most followed people in the world. The world. So him putting on a New Japan Pro Wrestling shirt, looking at a Rubik's Cube, that was done for a very specific reason. So let me tell you this, that this is only the beginning. I think New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to be part of WWE at some point. I think TNA is going to be. And here's the reality of the situation. Everything is you see the conglomeration as like a wrestling faction in AEW. It's like there's nothing wrong with being bought out. Okay? And I think that this is ultimately a good thing because it's just I don't get why everything that WWE has to do has to be bad for the sickos because they were rubbed the wrong way by Vince McMahon. And then this entire week, we see all these weird quotes from WWE dignitaries, including Triple H, including Nick Khan, including Roman Reigns, including John Cena. And everybody's just trying to take this out of proportion. Like, this is a bad thing. Like, it's a bad thing for AEW that this is happening, that a Lucha Libre promotion with as much tradition as AAA. Granted, they do have some problematic people in that promotion that they're going to potentially have to weed out because one of those performers, I think, is in jail because they try to kill Stephanie Vaquera, which, we're not going to get into. And Alberto Del Rio, I believe, is AAA's champion, which is a whole other problem. That is a whole other issue. So they've got some stuff they need to address in that portion of it because I don't think in any way, shape, or form you can allow those guys to be on the television as part of this, conglomerate and, this thing. Those are things that are problems. Okay. They're not. And, we'll see how WWE handles that in the weeks and months on end. But here's everything that you need to know from what transpired before, the show WrestleMania on. And, some people are saying, Ray Phoenix, losing to Ray Phoenix losing to El Grande Americano was a bad look for Lucha Libre Wrestling. Guys, Rey Mysterio was supposed to be in that match. They basically had 24 hours notice to put that thing together. Ray Phoenix was just taking Rey Mysterio's spot. He looked fine in it. And he lost clean. It's not a disrespect to Lucha Libre Wrestling. El Grande Americano has been over. Even I've talked to Latinos who love Lucha Libre who are entertained by this. So, guys, I think this is overall a good thing for Lucha Libre. I think this is a good thing because when you've got a guy like, when you've got as many talented Latin-born superstars, and Rey Mysterio is the most recognizable guy, and I think Rey Mysterio probably had a big role in this thing because Conan inducted, who's effectively running that place, is one of his best friends and inducted him into the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. When you look at all of this in context, it's just like, okay, there's nothing wrong with it. And the only reason why people are mad at it is because AEW should have been doing this a long time ago when they were doing the Forbidden Door. This is the Forbidden Door taken to the next level. And the only reason why people are mad about it is because the bigger place is doing it now in much more spectacular fashion. Yes, there are issues with promotions, and if they are, and I do think they will buy out New Japan, there's a bunch of issues there because Tetsuya Naito is leaving, and that's one of their bigger stars. Tanahashi is basically running the place, but he's not wrestling anymore. There's not a lot of, pieces there because all of them have left for AEW. Okada, Omega, Ospreay, like all those names have already signed up with the other place. But still, combining with WWE, that makes it a much bigger deal. And, it's going to help grow the product globally. So, again, I think WWE has snatched the Forbidden Door away from AEW after 3 years. That's my big takeaway from this. And again, I talked about it a couple weeks ago when I saw Rock on that Instagram post. This is only the beginning. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Enjoy WrestleMania Night 2. We'll be live here on the channel a little before 4 o'clock local time, 7 p.m. Eastern, for another great night of WrestleMania. And thanks to everybody who subscribed to the channel. We're over 1,100 subscribers. I appreciate and love y'all. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.